Hello, successful English members. Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn some new vocabulary, phrasal verbs, and idioms that are used in English language in learning process. سڵاوتان لێبێت ئەندامان ئینگلیزی خۆشەویست بەخێر بێن بۆ ئەم وانەیە لەم وانەدا فێری چەند وشەیەک و phrasal verb و idiom دەبین واتە دەستەواشە کە لە زمانی ئینگلیزیدا بەکاردێن لە زیاتر لەو حاڵەتانەی کە بۆ فێربوون. As I had planned a holiday in Spain, I decided to brush up on my Spanish before I went, and I enrolled in a local evening course. At first, I had to rack my brains to remember anything, and I couldn't make sense of the grammar. So it was very hard to keep up with other students. Then after a while, things started coming back to me, and I realized there were lots of words on the tip of my tongue, but some of the new vocabulary wouldn't sink in. Words just went in one ear and out the other. When you work all day, it's not easy to keep your mind on a difficult subject in the evening. But I stuck at it, and I began to pick things up more quickly. All I have to do now is to keep it up. Okay, guys, that was our paragraph. Our paragraph kamambu. As I had planned a holiday in Spain, أوكو بلاني كم دانابو لا holiday. What holiday? What تي? What بشو? Rojani Pshula, España. I decided to brush up on my Spanish before I went. Riyadin that sibkam. Brush up on my Spanish before I went, and I enrolled on a local evening course. At first, I had to rack my brains to remember anything, and I could not make sense of the grammar, so it was very hard to keep up with other students. Then after a while, things started coming back to me, and I realized there were lots of words on the tip of my tongue, but some of the new vocabulary wouldn't sink in. Words just went in one ear and out the other. When you work hard all day, it's not easy to keep your mind on a difficult subject in the evening. But I stuck at it and began to pick things up more quickly. All I have to do now is to keep it up. Okay, guys, now we're going to look at the meanings of the new vocabularies and phrasal verbs, and we have two idioms. Okay, first we have, as I had planned a holiday in Spain, I decided to brush up on my Spanish before I went. To brush up on something or brush something up, it means improve your knowledge or skill, especially when you have not used it for a period of time. Meaning that, for example, you have studied English long ago, and now you decide to brush up on your English language. واتتسي واتك شتكت خويندي بيت بكارتنا بيت لا يعني دمك ماويك بيش استا بلان استا بتو دوباره امشتا وكوبليت بري بيبستني to brush up on something on. For example, we have here I decided to brush up on my Spanish. ريارم لك إسبانيا كم باشتر بكم واتا باشا بلام وكوبليت باشتري بكم. Okay, rack your brains or brain. That means when you try hard to remember something. For example, we have studied history at high school, but now it's not easy for me to remember all the dates and what happened in like centuries ago. So I have to rack my brains to remember those dates and historical dates. So here we have the example that we have is at first I had to rack my brain to remember anything. To rack rack my brains. That means to try hard to remember something. Make sense of. To make sense of, I could not make sense of the grammar. If something makes sense for you, it means you can understand it. You manage to understand, or it's understandable. If something makes sense for you, but if something does not make sense for you, means it's hard to understand. You cannot understand, or it is ununderstandable. And we here have I could not make sense of the grammar, means that I was not able to understand. It was hard for me to understand the grammar. Wata tia wata agar shtek blade that makes sense wata ama bale تێدەگەم يعني شتەکە ئاسانە شتەکە دیارە وەکو بڵێیت تێدەگەیت. بەڵام if something does not make sense for you, that means it's hard to understand. Keep up with somebody. To keep up with somebody means to make progress at the same at the same speed as others. For example, you have to keep up with other students at class, right? You have to keep up with other students. بۆ کاتێک مامۆستا دەڵێت پێویستە هەمووتان لەگەڵ یەک بن، واتە keep up with each other، واتە لە یەک مستەوا لەگەڵ یەک بڕۆن، نەک تۆ بە دوا کەویت، یاخود زۆرجا مامۆستا هەیە دەیەوێتن دوو پۆل لەگەڵ یەک بن، to keep up to classes، to keep up with each other، واتە لەگەڵ یەک مستەوا بن، بە یەک مستەوادا بڕۆن، واتە تۆ بە پاش نەکەویت. To keep up, and here we have so it was hard to keep up with the other students. زەحمەت بوو بۆ ئەوەی لەگەڵ قوتابیەکانی تر بڕۆم، واتە لەگەڵەوان بەردەوام، واتە تۆ بەدوا دەکەویت بەهۆی ئەوەی کە وەکو ئەوان بۆ نمونە زیرەک نەبوو یان وەکو ئەوان لە پێشە بن. comes back to me. If information comes back to you, you can remember it. For example, you have memorized some words or some dates or something, and you try to remember, and when it comes back to you, meaning that you can remember it. Okay, واتە چی کەمە واتە شتەکە بۆت دەگەڕێتەوە بۆ ناچی بۆ ناو مشکلە شتێکی لەبەر کردووە، تاریخێکە یاخود ناوێکە یاخود هەر شتێکە، ئەمە دواتر it comes back to you، ئەمە بۆت دەگەڕێتەوە، دەتوانیت بەبیرت بێتەوە. On the tip of my tongue. ئەمەیان ئیدیەمە. It's an idiom. On the tip of my tongue. We have the same idiom in our language, in Kurdish language. On the tip of my tongue. On the tip of my tongue. دەڵێن شتێک لەسەری زمانمە. If a word or a name is on the tip of your tongue, you are sure you know it, but you cannot remember it at that moment, right? واتە چی؟ واتە تۆ کە ناوێک یان شتێک دەزانیت، دەڵێ لەسەری زمانمە، بەڵام دەزانی کە شتەکەی خۆت دەزانی کە شتەکەی دەزانی، بەڵام ناتوانانی لەو حاڵەتەدا شتەکەی بڵێیت یاخود بەبیریت بێتەوە بە تەواوەتی چیا. زۆر ئەمە ئەو ئیدیۆمە زۆر بەکاردێنین لە زمانی کوردی، دەڵێ ئەها وەڵا لەسەری زمانمە بەس نازانم لە ئێستا بزەبت بە فکرم نایەتەوە، ینی دەزانم ئێستا دەزانم شتەکە چیە، بەڵام ئێستا بەبیرم نایەتەوە. On the tip of my tongue. So it's a very useful idiom. ئەمە ئیدیۆمێکی زۆر گرینگە. On the tip of my tongue or of your tongue. Sink in, wrong spelling. Sink in, not skin in. Sink in means that it means of information, of experience, be remembered or understood. For example, we have but some of the new vocabulary we didn't sink in. Sink in. Sink in واتە چی؟ واتە لە هەندێک وشەکان لە ڤۆکابلەریەکان چیا تێنەدەگەیشتم یاخود بەبیرم نەدەهاتەوە چکە چی بوون؟ نوێ بوون. Sink in. ئەمەیان سکین نییە بەڵکو sink. Goes in one ear, out the other. You forget it very quickly. Again, this is an idiom, and we have the same idiom in our language, in Kurdish language. Oh, that's for sure. ئەمەش ئیدیۆمێکە زاراوەیەکە هەمان زاراوەشمان لە زمانی کوردی هەیە کە دەڵێت بە گوێیەکیدا دەڕوا لە ویتکەی دەردەچێتواتە لەو گوێی دەردەچی لەو جێی دەستە ژۆرە لە ویتکەی دەردەچی یعنی کە شتێک کە کەسێک یان نەخۆت شتێک دەخوێنی و یەکسەر لە بیری دەکەیت. You forget it quickly. We have the same idiom in our language. Goes in one ear and out the other. واتە لە گوێیەک دەستە ژوورە و لەویت کە دەستە دەرێ واتە زوو لە بیری دەکەیت یاخود هەر تێی ناگەیت. Sometimes, you know. And then we have keep your mind on. To keep your mind on means to continue to concentrate on something, to focus on something. I have to keep my mind on English. You have to keep your mind on English. To continue to focus on English language. You have to keep your mind on English language. واتە چی؟ واتە پێویستە کە مێشکت حیزری لەسەر زمانی ئینگلیزی بێت، بەردەوام بیت لەسەر ئینگلیزی. To keep your mind on واتە مێشک خۆت لەگەڵ ئەو شتە واتە مێشکی لەسەری بێت، بیرت لە لای بێت. Okay. And then we have pick something up. Learn something without making a big effort. What does that mean? Okay, great. As we have it here, it says, I began to pick things up more quickly. To pick things up. واتە شتەکان ئاسانتر وەگرم. شتەکان ئاسانتر without making a big effort. What effort? واتە زیاتر پێوەی ماندی نەبن. For example, when you level when your English level advances, it's easier for you to pick new words up. It's easier and you can pick them up and it without a big effort, a lot of effort. So that means to pick things up. And then finally we have to keep it up. Continue to do something as well as you're doing it now. Just keep it up. Just keep it up. For example, you have something and you have to keep it up. Now you know English. You know English and you study English and you have to pick it up. You learn English and you have to pick it up. That means واتە تو ئینگلیزی دەزانی و پێویستیشە لەگەڵی بڕۆیت لەگەڵی بەردەوام بیت. How to continue to do something as well as you're doing it now. بۆیە بەردەوامیش بیت. To keep it up. Please guys, pick up your English and keep it up and keep your mind on studying English and learning English. Please do not let words go in one ear and out the other. I know sometimes words and new vocabularies are on the tip of your tongue. Please try to remember them. And when things come back to you, you can remember them and don't be nervous. Things will come back to you. Okay, and please, all you have to do is keep up with the other students so we can go at the same level and at the same speed. And if something does not make sense for you, please ask your question and anything. I will clarify anything you don't understand. And write your brain. Yes, you have to write your brain when you study English and when you try to remember new vocabularies or phrasal verbs. And I know you're trying to brush up on your English, and that's a great idea. I'll see you next time. Have a nice study and enjoy your learning English with successful English. And please, after you listen and watch this video, go ahead and do the quiz on سەرکەوتوو.com. We'll have a quiz for you just to make sure that how much you have learned and test what you have learned. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.